Everyone wants to have animated subtitles like this in their YouTube shorts, in their Instagram reels, on their TikToks, or just taking their overall video production game to the next level. But what most people don't know is how to achieve this effect. So what I'm going to show you is how to do all of this professionally and easily and very, very quickly in Adobe Premiere Pro, which by the way leverages AI technology to generate the transcripts and other features in this tutorial. So the first step is bring a clip into your project window and then just drag it over to actually create a sequence. Once you have some clips, all you're going to want to do is you're going to go to text. But as you can see here on my layout, I don't have anywhere where there's a text panel that I could work with. That's an easy fix because I could just hover over window or click window, and then I could scroll down until I find text, and then I'll select that. And you'll see that now we have a text panel. So a nice tip for you, because it's going to be difficult to work in this small window right here, is you can just double click text, and then what's going to happen is you're going to see it much larger, and then over here you'll see our options. It says that the source clip is untranscribed. So I'm going to click transcribe, and then you're going to see that very, very quickly with just one click, and my clip is about 30 seconds long, it's going to do an amazing job transcribing it exactly as I have it. And over here, I can even edit it as I go along. So now I'll make it a little bit smaller. And what's really cool is if I play the clip, you'll actually see that it's showing me exactly where I am speaking. So I can follow this along, and anywhere where I spot an error, I can actually fix it. So what you have to do is you have to double click it, and then you'll see that you can actually edit it. So once you listen to it and you spot an error, you could fix it. But sometimes it's not even going to be an error in speech. It's just like TikTok, right? Like it had it as small letters. Whereas here, if I go to TikTok, and by the way, I didn't choose this video, I'm not logged in, don't make fun of me for it. But as you could see, it's two capital T's and they're side by side to one another. So what I can do is I could go back to Adobe Premiere, and here I can go ahead and change that as I see fit. So I went ahead and read through all of this, and I really didn't have to correct almost any errors. I just had to capitalize certain things, which just goes to show that Adobe has some amazing AI embedded transcription features. After that, we're going to want to find the symbol, the CC, that stands for create captions, or we can click these three dots here, and you also have an option to create captions. So if you see the symbol right here, just click it. And then you're going to see a pop-up window, and it's going to ask you what type of preset you want to have. So I would just leave it as subtitle default. And then over here, we're going to want to click on this angled bracket right here to open up a lot more options. Now for style, I'm just going to leave it as none. We're going to play with the style of the letters a little bit later. The maximum length in characters. This is important because if we leave it at like 50, that's going to be several rows of a lot of characters, and it's going to be a little bit annoying for people to read. You want things to really pop. So I leave my videos at 20 when I'm working with horizontal videos. So obviously shorts or reels, it's going to be much less than 20. But for the type of video that I'm creating, which is horizontal, 16 by 9, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave it as 20 maximum length in characters. For the minimum duration in seconds, you're going to want to bring that down. I typically leave it at 2 seconds, and that's going to give you the minimum duration that it's going to show. Now, obviously, if I'm talking really fast, then it might actually skip this preset right here because it does have to fit in the word. So I'll show you what I mean a little bit later. So the next option here is gap between captions, and I want to leave this as 0 because I don't want there to be empty space. I want it to be highly engaging. I want people to just see the things flashing by so that everyone's short attention span is quenched and that they can actually pay attention. Now lines, I like to keep them single because again, I want it to change a lot. If you leave it as double, it's going to be 2 lines, it's going to be a lot of reading, whereas this is going to be flashy, and I'll show you because we're going to play with the style. It's going to look pretty cool. So here, now I'm going to click create captions. And now you'll see here that if I play the clip, you'll see the captions down here, but obviously this is not exactly what I wanted. I want these to be quite large, but I want to show you this so that you understand that if you're working with really small text, as far as text size, you can increase the maximum characters to be like 40, 50, and it will fill up this line right here. So the double line means it would have had 2 streaks of this going at the same time, and it would have been filling a lot more words. So let's now play with the styling of the characters. So first of all, let me show you exactly what's happening here. Basically, Adobe Premiere Pro went and they created a subtitle track right here that has the subtitles, and that's why these little subtitles are popping up, and you could see the breaks between them. That's the different lines that they're showing. So when the text changes, that's when you see a break in that line. Really interesting, right? So now what we want to do is we want to select every single one of these subtitles, and then you're going to go to the essential graphics panel that you have. Again, if you don't see it, just navigate to Window and look for essential graphics, and if it doesn't have a check mark next to it, simply click it so that you're able to see it. So I'm able to see essential graphics right here, and here's really where we can give it some flavor. So for me, I love to use Laura Bold Italic, and you can choose any which one that you please. So everyone's got different styles. You can make it italic, you can just make it bold, you can do whatever you want. And now we obviously want to increase the letter size, so we're going to drag this to the right. I mean, nowadays these are really large, but I still want to keep them just modest, not too huge. So I'll leave it at 130. Here we could specify if we want the text to be aligned to the left, the right. Most leave it in the center. Over here is where you specify if you want all of it to be capitalized, if you want something to be extra bold, right? You can align and transform this a little bit. So let's say I select this, it's going to be in the center. If I put this in the corner, it's only going to show it in the corner. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to leave it towards the bottom. Over here is where you can select your different colors. Now, one thing I always like to use is a stroke, and I'll usually give it contrast, but I don't want to go black because that could be a little bit boring. So I choose a color that I've used in the video, and I'll make it something that matches the back of the actual video, and then I'll also increase the stroke. So for something of the size of the text that we have, I'll probably leave it at, let's try 12. I actually want it to be a little bit juicier, so let's go with 18. And then we can also have a little bit of a shadow to it, but you can play with all of these things as you see fit. And you can even play with like the angle that you want the shadow to fall on and such. There's so much that you could play with here, so I definitely recommend that you guys do that. And now you'll see that if I go ahead and I play this, it's really showing up and it's kind of unique. And again, I could use any type of font that I want. If I don't want it to be italic, it doesn't have to be italic. If you want to use Georgia, if you want to use something to mimic Mr. Beast and have it like really fat cartoonish style letters. Let me now show you how to give a little bit of animation to these subtitles right here. So the thing you're going to want to do is, again, you're going to want to select all of them, and then you're going to go to graphics and titles, and you're going to upgrade caption to graphic, and that's going to allow us to go ahead and include animated transitions in between the text. So let me show you what I mean right now. So if we go over here to the effects panel, and again, if you can't see effects panel, just navigate to Window, find effects, same exact process that I covered earlier in the video. And please don't forget the graphics and title step that we just covered. Otherwise you won't be able to do this. So from here, what you can do is you can go to video transitions. So let's say we want to do something groovy and I want to choose like VR light leaks, and I'll just apply it right here. Now check this out. Once the caption comes on, it has that little pizzazz to it, right? But let's say I don't want it to last that long. What I could do is I can actually double click the animation, and then I could just bring down using the up and down arrow keys, or you could type it in manually, how long that transition is going to take place. And now if I play it, you'll see that it did it very quickly. I actually don't like that. I actually liked it when it took a second to do it. And you could see that you could add these throughout the video. So I'm just going to select and drag the VR light leaks, and then I'm going to place it where there's a transition, so where there's a break in these subtitles. So if you wanted to, you could simply apply this to any part of the video that has some sort of accent on it. And then you could have this little bit of flashy transition, right? Where it could like just sparkle in front of people's eyes and capture their attention. Now, if you did want it in every single transition of the subtitle track, you can achieve that too. I mean, I don't like to do that, but I'll gladly show you how that's done. So what we can do here is we can right click this transition and we could say set selected as default transition. If I go ahead and I select every single one of these subtitles and notice that it's no longer in the subtitle track, that's because we moved it to a graphics track by upgrading it. So over here, once they're all selected, you can use the shortcut key Control or Command D, and it's going to go ahead and apply it to every single one of these captions. But I think it's just too much. There's just too much flash going on. But if you want something like that, that's how you would achieve it. If you don't do this upgrade to source graphics step, you're not going to have access to be able to go ahead and apply all these different really unique transitions. So hopefully with this, you now know how to create those really cool large subtitles and do it yourself, right? You don't have to pay for some sort of app or software. You can very quickly achieve this in Adobe Premiere Pro. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please help me out. I'm trying to grow the channel. Give it a subscribe, give it a like. Leave a comment in the comment section. I will aim to respond to every single comment that comes through. And if you run into any problems whatsoever, just mention it and I will problem solve with you. I appreciate you guys for watching this video in its entirety, and I will see all of you in the next one.